Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, good, Jay?
Good, good. How about you?
Yeah, good, good, good. Is Shannon on?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, hello. All right. How's it going where you are? You locked down or you?
Are we locked down? We've been locked down, unlocked so many times. I'm trying to think. I mean, we are kind of still locked down, but we're almost free. I mean, we can sit down outside of restaurants and stuff like that, but we can't quite party like we were before back in 2020.
Yeah.
But
This is our third one, isn't it, Shannon? This is our third one, I think.
Yeah, but hopefully it's ending soon.
Yeah.
what about you guys? Are you guys locked down still, or?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, things are getting like better because some restrictions have been lifted, but we've still got to see how it goes, I think. So,
Yeah, well, we can get a few gigs in end of April, I think, hopefully. But again, no one still doesn't know what's going on. So day by day, I think we're taking it at the minute.
Day by day. We'll eventually get out of it, but it's just one of those things. But that's a great topic for me to start off for with both of you is, how has COVID affected your life and your music? I mean, what were you doing pre-COVID, and how did you cope with the whole thing and continuing to do your music?
So I don't know if it's the same for Shannon. I assume it may be, but I was sort of doing quite a few gigs. I know Shannon does a lot of gigs in London as well, and she'll touch on that. But yeah, we were obviously doing lots of gigs. It was building up, and then all of a sudden we went into our third lockdown. And even at the start of lockdown, what I found, it did, although with what went on, it gave me a bit more time to focus on the writing side of things. And in hindsight, with what I'm doing, obviously with the EP and little projects as well, it's given me time to do sort of different projects and actually sit down and focus a bit more creatively. But yeah, it's frustrating. Obviously you want to go out and do the gigs, and I don't know, Shannon, if you're the same or...
Yeah, so I was getting quite a few gigs at the beginning of January. I'd done a headline show in February at a cocktail bar in London, and it went really well. And then I'd met someone at the same gig as me, and we were getting gigs together, like post that. Yeah. And then obviously come March, everything just stopped, and like I had so many things coming up that were just cancelled, and it was quite crushing because anyone would feel like that if they were given an opportunity and that was just taken away. So, but I mean, it kind of gave me time to start actually recording my own music, because I'd only kind of done rough demos of my stuff before, because I never really had the time to officially think about releasing my stuff in a proper way. And I was like, right, this is the time for me to invest in my own recording equipment, because I was meeting up with producers and trying to get into studios, but then studios are closed as well as gigs, so I couldn't even do that. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to just do everything at home. So I started recording my own music last year after the first during the first lockdown, and then I had a few releases out, and it's just been carrying on since then, really. Still recording music and writing more stuff, just until we can perform again.
And I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? It's giving us a different side of, things like recording and stuff like that, which we maybe wouldn't normally focus on. But because we've had so many lockdowns, Geoff, it's hard to get any momentum on anything that we've wanted to do. I think it's all stop and start. You get a gig, you then stop again. And yeah, so hopefully we can just get through it now and get some momentum on everything, I think.
Hopefully so.
As well.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely been a lot of good that's come out of it, despite all the bad stuff. But I think it's really given me a drive to actually start my music career, or even just developing it further with the actual official releases of music. So yeah, kind of given us a kick up the bum a little bit, I think.
Most definitely. No, I mean but that's what I'm hearing a lot is from artists is that it's been a great time to reflect and kind of think about what you really want to do and kind of change course of direction. But it's actually been a positive thing for a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah. I think as well. It's like if that's not just music as well. I think that's sort of just in general in terms of what people were doing before, and it's almost like restarting from scratch, really. You know, like people getting into different sports or different jobs and things like that. I think it's not just music, but hopefully we'll be back to normal.
I
my
know in the
job
beginning
changed as well. So I was working in a gig venue, which I thought, oh, great opportunities to play at a brand new gig venue in King's Cross, you know, and then that shut down. So I lost my job as well. That was helping me fund my music stuff. So I had to find a whole new job as well as trying to climb my way up through the music hole I was in. So that wasn't fun. But
if you get a job back, I'll come do a gig in King's Cross. Little plug.
Yeah, literally. Once it's back up, we'll storm our way through there and play a gig.
Probably be another 4 months, but we'll see.
you guys will get back out there. I mean, I know it's been a challenge, and you know, it's just like. It's just crazy. I mean, for me, I was a bit of a brat. I mean, when it first happened, I was just like, no, we don't have time for this. This is, you know, we got plans. We got things that we want to do. And then about a couple months into it, I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. And I'm also grateful, you know, that I'm alive and most everybody I know is alive and unaffected by the virus. So, you know what I mean? It was like, it went through phases. At first I was rebelling, and then afterwards I was like, you know what, man? I'm breathing, right? Like, you know, I'm here. A lot of people are not here. So, I mean, right?
No, 100%. Definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. But I'm so happy that you guys have fared okay and that you're doing okay because, you know, it's just one of those things that just came out of nowhere. And I always make it a point in all the interviews to talk about COVID and you know, how it affected everybody because I think it's just so universal. And
and I think sometimes as well you forget, don't you? Because everyone's sort of caught up in their own little bubble. And when you look at it on a wider scale, it's, you know, some of it's quite daunting on you sometimes. But no, it's good to, like you said, we've managed to stay safe. And like you said, it's been a bit of a hard time, but it's been like that sort of for everyone. But no, hopefully we can get back doing gigs and stuff. And yeah, I just want to go on holiday, Geoff. If I'm honest, I just want a bit of sun. I don't know what the weather's like out there where you are, but out here it's hot and then it rains and then it's wet again and then it snows and I just want a bit of sun.
I just want to go somewhere.
Honestly, the weather this week has just been up and down. Like it's like it has a personality disorder. Honestly, like you never know what you're gonna get. Like you can't even trust the weather forecast because it usually lies anyway. Yeah. So it's just random.
I go and do PE and teach like along with the music, and I pack my coat. I then pack a pair of shorts. I pack trousers. I don't know what I'm going to be wearing because of the weather. The nightmare. It's windy. But yeah, bit of sun will do me nicely, like Spain or somewhere.
You both need to come out to LA. I'm telling you, you got plenty of sun and mostly nice people. Mostly.
I'm down, Geoff. I'd be there tomorrow if I could. I'd be there.
You'd love it.
What are the venues like in LA? What are the music venues?
Oh man, we got a pretty good fair amount. They come in pockets. There's the Sunset Strip, and then there's downtown, and there's different places, and it's really spread out. It's huge. I always tell everybody LA is probably the equivalent of like 5 average U.S. cities. So it's very spread. But yeah, the clubs are great, man. It's a lot of really cool clubs, specialized clubs, and they're great venues, and there's great support for live music all the time, pre-COVID. But you know, it'll come back. I mean, some of the great ones like the Troubadour, which has been on the news, they've kind of been struggling to make it, but they're still doing their thing and they're doing live streaming. And both of you, I would suggest if you can get in at the Troubadour, it'd be a great gig.
Yeah, We'll get Josh from LMS UK to look into it, Shannon.
Tell Josh to book it.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
make
go
Josh
on
book it.
tour in LA. That'll be
Yeah,
our first break. That'll be
I'm
great.
so down. Geoff can sort us out at the Troubadour. Nice
Yeah.
place to. I'm
Yeah,
down.
man. I'll be your ambassador of sorts, but no, I think the LA scene is I think it's good. I think it's interesting. It's very diverse. It's not one thing. It's not like, oh well, it's really like this. There's all kinds of mini scenes. I mean, you've got areas like Echo Park, Silver Lake, which are more kind of like the independent, alternative rock or singer-songwriter. You've got downtown LA, which is like the new hot spot, which you can get everything from acoustic rock to, full-on funk, reggae. I mean, there's so much diversity. You guys would love it.
One road, so like, is it on a strip or is it sort of all spread out and like, is it massive?
It's massively spread. I mean, it's I can't even really positively really describe it to you, but it's just like, oh man, it's outrageous. It really very spread out, very spread out. The only part that's kind of compartmentalized is Sunset Strip. You've got the Roxy, the Whiskey, a lot of these legendary bars and clubs, but outside of that, it's just like it's very spread. Yeah. No, but it's definitely worth it. I think there's a lot of music lovers in California, and definitely for both of your styles. I've checked out both of your music. I think it would play very, very well. Just a matter of getting out there, connecting to the people, and just letting them hear you. Give them a shot to hear your artistry.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's the main goal, I think, for both of us anyway at the minute, is just sort of get out there, do your gigs, but then you need to promote sort of your image and your sound and stuff as well. And like I said, this COVID has given that little drive. And if not, it's just, imagine going out to LA and doing gigs and, just trying to make a career of doing it, being mad. I think I'd fit in well, Geoff, in LA.
I think you get on very well. I think you would. The main thing.
It'll be super fun.
The main thing about LA, I would say, and probably for any city, and you guys probably feel the same way over there, is that it's just about keeping real with your artistry, staying true to what you are, and just finding the people who love everything about you, what you do. Because it's an easy place to get caught up in the hype and the record label and this and that. And I mean, I myself got caught up in it, and it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pursuing a career, but I think as long as you just stay focused on like, okay, here are my songs. This is what I love. This is who I am. This is what I'm talking about. And just staying strong to your message, and everything else that kind of surrounds it is just a bonus. I mean, you'll kill it.
Yeah. Just even in, like I said, not getting too caught up in your own sort of publicity, isn't it, as well? I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, you can get tied up in it for sure. You can get tied up. I know for me, when I was really going at it hard, it was just like, I got to get the deal. I got to get the deal. I got to get the deal. And, and it's nothing wrong with pursuing a deal. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you can get lost in that. And I felt that I got a little bit lost in it, and it got to a point where it's just like, do I like the music? Am I making music for a label that is talking about signing? It gets confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of art. I mean, I think pretty much every artist puts too much pressure on themselves. That makes sense, because like there's always that question, like, am I good enough? Like, is this track I've put out good enough? But it's just like, if you keep asking yourself, are you good enough? You're never going to get anything done. So you've got to learn on the process. So I definitely feel that myself. Like I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to writing, recording. I'm primarily like a vocalist, and if something's not right, I will like push it until I'm happy with it. But that would just in the end just get me stressed out, because like I have to reach that end goal, but sometimes it's just too far to reach if you're like in that perfectionist zone. And sometimes you just gotta be real and say, look, this is the best I can do, and I can just work on things for the next one, and that's how you progress. So yeah, it's quite easy to get caught up in yourself and what you think is good, and am I good enough? But at the end of the
I think
day, you just got to keep learning.
yeah, I think it's just a trial and error as well. So like, I think in the month I've learned so much. Like just going into detail, just like right, what age brand am I trying to, promote my music? What am I going to look like? What's the the style of music? And I've put songs out there on Spotify, and I've taken songs down, because like you said, you got to get the numbers, and then do you like it? Do you not? And it's all just a trial and error. And I think until you're never gonna, it's always going to be sort of like that in a way. But no, you like I said, you can get lost in it very, very easy. Just like even if you that's the best thing I've heard. Like, oh yeah, look at me. You're like, but no. But I think it's also an exciting thing, isn't it? That it's like part of the whole creative process.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, tell me both of you about, I mean, while we're on that topic of like, when you're in the studio and you're working on a song and you're very excited about it, and you really like the song, you're digging it, you've got this vibe. It's like, okay, this is something I believe in. How do you know when you're done? How do you cut it off and just say, I'm not driving myself crazy. This worked for me.
For me, I don't think you're ever like 100% done with a song. I just think where you get to a point where you just get sick of it. For me, you just get sick of trying to perfect little things. And, I think getting feedback from people as well is the main thing, because as a musician, and I think Shannon will say, if you're a perfectionist, you can just sort of, oh, I don't like that note. I want to change that hi-hat on the drum or different things. And I think you get to a point, as soon as you start overthinking the little things of it and you keep showing you getting feedback, and they're like, I don't know what the difference is now, Matt. Like, that sounds the same. I think that's the point where you then get to, right, I need to move on here. But I always like in the studio, I like the development phase of it. I like writing, because obviously I'm acoustic, I like writing the song, the vocal. And then when I get into the studio, I think that's when the song sort of comes alive. And I think, as soon as you write a song, but I think a song is actually properly made and when you're in the studio, because again, an idea comes to you when you're listening to it, or you're singing a vocal part and you think, oh, I can add a harmony. And for me, yeah, that's the main part when I like to go in. But again, it's been different this year. We haven't been able to get into a studio, so we've had a lot more time to focus and maybe, like Shannon said, perfect certain things, where maybe in other times you would have just moved on because you have deadlines and stuff. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Shannon, as well.
Yeah, so I started going into studios before the first lockdown, because I was recording a collaboration track with a producer, and I felt like during the studio time I could just focus on my vocals and nothing else, and I really liked that, because now I record my songs at home in my home studio, and I have so much more to think about. Like, it's great learning a whole new skill set on how to record, as I'd never done it before. I'd never knew how to use a recording program and everything like that, and what microphones to buy. I didn't even have to think about that before. I just turn up in a studio, focus on my vocals, what I've got to do, and then get out of there and just hear the track back. But now I'm learning to edit vocals, comp everything, and just a brand new skill set that I'd never had to do before. So yeah, I think it's definitely a positive thing, having all this extra experience that I wouldn't have had before. But I do miss that kind of just turn up to studio and that's my only job, just to sing. Because it's just nice to just do that. But
I think you
just to learn and adapt, don't you?
Yeah, and I think you just focused on it a little bit more as well. You get your drummer and your bass player, or whatever, and then they've got their bit, and you're working with them because you trust them to come up with something brilliant, and then it takes the pressure a little bit off yourself. And again, it can be a big difference, because it then gives you that extra sort of 2%, 3% of a better vocal part than maybe if you're working on other little. And like I said, I think in the song as well, like those little. I'm working with a DJ at the minute, and we've done a song and we're being patient with it because we think a vocal could be that maybe 2%, 3% better. And at the minute, it's given us that time to sort of do that. And like you said, perfect it. But I think you want to try and make a song that you're proud of and you want to listen to every day and you want to push and you want to make as best as it can, because when it's out there, it's done, isn't it? You're like, it's
when it's out. Yeah. So you gotta love it, because I mean, you could pull it back, but you know, it's out there in the universe, so you want to love it first.
I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like I get a little bit sick of my track before it's out, because I've listened to it so many times because I want to make sure it's like perfect. But if you listen to something too much, you definitely get lost in it, and you're like, you need to just give yourself like a week or two and then listen back to it with fresh ears, like, because you got to remember that people are listening to this for the first time and they've never heard it before. So I mean, yeah, I've got a song out in like 2 days and I've definitely listened to it too much, like to just pick everything out too much. But at the same time, I'm still excited for everyone to hear it for the first time. But I do think you can over listen to your own stuff and then you just second guess everything, because I know I have.
I think it's just a balance, finding that balance, I think, with like how much you listen to it. Yeah, I just think it's a whole balance thing. But it's not the worst thing in the world being sick of your own song, because you know, it's not the worst thing, because if you then put that out there and then someone else gets sick of it, I take that as a compliment. I think then that means you've made something.
That means they're listening to it a lot. Yeah. Most definitely.
But I know what you mean. You've got to be careful, because you don't want to, because then it affects, like you said, Shannon, has it affected your release process of how much you push the song if you're sick of it?
No, it's literally just a personal thing. Again, I think it's my personality, because I am a perfectionist, so I listen out for things that, like, I don't know, that I can do better, but at the same time, it's like, it's out for release. I can't do anything. I can't touch it. There's no point trying to just criticize it anymore. Once it's out, it's out, and that's it. And overall, I'm proud of it, because I got to a point where I was like, right, you know what? I'm happy with this. I'm happy for all of this to go out. So I think it's just a personal thing.
Yeah. And I think sometimes as well, it's that, because like at the end of the day, being a musician, if you do it, if you're, you know, in the fortunate position to do it as a job, it becomes a job and it is work. And you know, as much, you know, then sometimes you forget that. You think, right, I'm just doing this now because like the label want me to do it, or it's work and you have to get it done. And at the same time, pull back and think, no, this is, you know, for pleasure and enjoyment, and it's music, and I want to, you know, not just push it out as work and then you forget about it. Like an essay, you wouldn't reread your essay for your GCSE after you've done it, sort of thing, because if it's work.
Yeah.
But finding that balance as well, because sometimes, especially when you're working with other people, it can be a bit of a different process and different things get in the way. But it's all, again, just part of learning and trial and error again, is finding that balance.
Most definitely, most definitely. So take me both to the beginning for both of you. Where were you? When was it that you were listening to music? Which artist was it that was just like, I think I got to do music. I think this is my path.
Shannon?
God, that's a good question. So I have more of a musical theatre background. So ever since I was at school, I always wanted to do the school plays, the school shows. I got into the Brit School. I don't know if you've heard of the Brit School in England, but it's a school for performing arts, and a lot of big superstars have come out of there, like Adele, Jessie J, Amy Winehouse. So a lot of people attend that. So I was so like excited when I auditioned and I got in there, and I studied musical theatre there. So I did a variety of singing, dancing and acting combined. And then I went more down the path of like theatre and singing within shows. But I've always had this passion for songwriting. I picked up the guitar when I was about, I'd say, 8 years old. And I started singing lessons when I was around that age as well. And I've been doing stage shows since I was 5 years old. So I've always had that like urge to perform within me. And in terms of artists, well, my parents were always playing Queen around the house. So since a young age, I was always like into my parents' music, because it was just like, I was just so exposed to it all the time. And it would just be the classics like Stevie Wonder, Queen, um, just like, yeah, stuff my parents listened to. And then I guess when I was a teen, I started listening to a lot of pop that everyone else was listening to. But then I studied music, and my eyes were open to it, like so many more genres. And I started hanging around a lot of boys at school, and they were listening to rock music. And I got into a bit of heavy metal, which, like, I'm not as fond of anymore, but it was that teenage, like, grunge sort of stage at secondary school that some people may have gone through. And yeah, so I feel like I've grown up exposed to a lot of different genres and appreciative of a lot of different styles of music. And I kind of just pick the best of the best and combine them. And that's what influences my songwriting, as well as sort of musical theatre composers as well. They've inspired my writing as well, such as Jason Robert Brown. I don't know if you've heard of him. Stephen Sondheim. But yeah, there's a bunch of theatrical composers that also inspire me. But more recently, I've been inspired by artists like Leanne Lahavis, Arlo Parks. Some people refer to me as like a female version of Ed Sheeran kind of style. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll pass over to Max now because I feel like I've given my life story.
That's a great story. How say you, Max?
Go on, Geoff.
No, how say you? Tell me about your journey.
Yes and no. Mine was. I remember, like my first sort of. I've always played piano, sort of when I was young, and always sort of played piano all the way through. And I remember when I was younger, like Michael Jackson used to come on down in our like local community centre, and like in our little pub and stuff. And they play it, and I'd always just. I didn't necessarily know who he was at the time, but I knew the songs. And I'd always like get a hat on, and I'd always try and do like the performing dances. I did the moonwalk and stuff like that, and because it was local, everyone each year when the Christmas party and stuff would come on, they'd be like, "Oh, get Max up to do it," and I'd start doing that when I was a bit younger. But the first sort of artist I remember and being like, "I want to do that," was I was in a hotel in, I think it was St Albans, which is a town near where I am. And I walked in the hotel, and you sit in the lounge bit, and we were going to a party, and we're sitting in the lounge bit, and you have those screens, didn't you, that come on the telly sometimes, and you have like one of the music channels, and Jason Mraz's song "I'm Yours" came on, and I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, I want to write something like that. And that was sort of the first. There's probably songs beforehand that influenced me, but that was the one that I can remember being like, yeah, I want to give that a go. And then I was at school, I always done, like I said, piano and guitar and things like that. And there was then, you know, my main background's football, so I used to go and do a lot of football training after schools. And there was a theatre show which was Les Miserables, and my music teacher was like, "Oh, you should audition." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do it." And then I auditioned for it. And I didn't really know a lot about it. I thought it was like an acting. I didn't know it was all singing. And if I knew it was all singing, I probably never would have done it. But my teacher sort of, I think she knew I didn't know and sort of guilted me into like doing it without telling me. She kept it quiet. But then done the audition and everything, and then my teacher was like, "Oh, you've got the main part." And I was like, "How did that happen?"
Was you Marius?
Yeah, I then played Valjean. So then all of a sudden,
Oh my god!
Shannon doesn't know.
I played Fontaine in my secondary school.
Mad.
Wow.
But
yeah.
But be able to tell you, it's just an amazing production to be in. But I thought there would be a few words and stuff, so I was a bit. I felt a bit out of my depth. But as soon as we'd done the shows, you know, I think out of the school, it was the 100th centenary year of the school, and it was just amazing to be in, and that buzz you got of singing in front of everyone, and we got a standing ovation nearly every night, and it was just like, I want to do this now. And then I joined the band, and yeah, band went to uni, we done well, we played at like O2 Academy Islington and things like that, and then now I've been doing it solo, and you know, I've been trying to push it and keep going. But yeah, I blame the teacher. She guilted me and secretly got me into that show without telling me what it was, but I'm glad she did.
That is awesome. So you both have very interesting beginnings. It's very cool. Very cool. So from there, I mean, I know you both kind of touched on performing, but let's delve into a little bit more. I mean, tell me more about like the very first musical or music performance with your music. What did it feel like, and were you nervous, and how did you get through it?
I think like when... Go on, Shannon.
So my first ever, sorry Max, my first ever musical performance was when I went to a stage school. I was 6 years old, and we had our first ever big show on a big stage in our local town hall. And they gave me a solo to Kylie Minogue's I Should Be So Lucky. They played the backing track. They dressed me in like a cowgirl hat, like crop top and a mini skirt. I don't know why they dress a 6-year-old like that, but that was my costume. I was very nervous. I'd never sung in front of anyone before, like, let alone a big audience. And I got through it, and my dad videoed me, and yeah, that was my first ever performance at 6 years old. But I mean, moving on to like teenage years, I started actually doing gigs from about 14 with my guitar. And yeah, I think because I'd been performing for quite a long time, like since the age of 6, I was kind of just like used to having a crowd and performance. But I was definitely, that was the most nervous I'd ever been, that first performance, and I remember it very clearly.
Of course, it's always the first one. You know, it's that first show kind of breaks you in, and then after that, it's like, I can do this. I'm alive. My pulse is still good, you know. But it is that first time. It's just like you're standing on the side of the stage. You're like, I don't know. Should I do it? Am I gonna die? Are they gonna kill me? You know, yeah. No, I know the feeling. What about you, Max? At the very first show, you know?
Well, mine's a bit different because obviously my background was always piano, and I remember like at school and junior school, I'd always sort of play the piano in sort of a morning assembly, and because you're not singing, it's a bit different. You're playing piano, and I remember the first one I then got into senior school, and I joined the school rock band, and it was literally just, they needed a keyboard player, so I'd done the keyboard, and everyone else was singing, and I was just playing the keyboard, and the song was Travis Scott, Billionaire. So we're just playing on the piano, and I thought, this is quite, and I'm just like 4 chords. So I'm like, this is cool. I was giving it all and everything, like standing up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play, and it was really cool. And then gradually, I just kept moving to the front of the stage. You know, I started like at the back with the piano, and then all of a sudden I was on the side, and then I got to the front, and then I started, you know, picked up a guitar. And when I then picked up a guitar about sort of 14, 15, you know, I then started, you know, singing, and, you know, I sang in my class with GCSE music, and I was always writing. I was writing on the piano. I then transferred it to guitar, and that's when I started singing. And yeah, my first actual singing in front of people was that Les Mis show. That was like the first time I properly like sang in front of anyone, and it, like, I knew I could do it, and then my teacher sort of knew I could do it, but I never really did, because I was always like, the best way I tell people is like, you know, High School Musical, and you have Troy Bolton. I was him. Not as cool. But my background was always football, so I always just stuck to the football. Never really done the singing. And then one day, I then done Les Mis, and all my mates were like, "Where's that? Where's he been hiding that one?" And yeah, and that's why it was such a good feeling. But yeah, that was my main sort of first proper, you know, apart from the piano and stuff. And then got into a band, and then we used to do like fashion shows at our school, and you got everyone dressing up in these really wacky costumes, and then I'm on stage with my band and singing, and I look back at it because we've got the video, and you know when you sound like really bad, but at the time you think you were really, I don't know if you get it, Shannon, when you look back on songs that you sung when you were like 15.
Oh yeah.
You went to Brit school. It's a bit different. You're more talented at it than I am.
No, but Brit school was for college. There's been times before then where I was, let's say I don't want to look back at those performances.
Yeah. But again, you know, you learn as you perform. So if you don't, you know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth show, you're never going to get, you know, better. And at the end of the day, as long as you just get past the point of caring what people think, and you're like, look, I enjoy this, I'm going to do it regardless. I think that's then when you start showing people, oh, actually, he's or she's good. So, but yeah, that was sort of I like throwing the High School Musical because Zac Efron's a good-looking guy as well, so it's quite nice.
It fits you well, yes, sir. Hey, so you bring up a good topic, which is, you know, not caring about what people think and what, you know, people having their input and you know, and I hear both of you. You're both very talented. You're both great singers, great artists. But I think, you know, and I'm sure you probably felt the same way, both of you. You know, when you hear an artist that you like or that you admire, and you know you're listening to them and you're checking them out, and you say, you know what, they just got it like that. You know, it's always just kind of this natural inclination. They're just really good. It's all natural. You know, their first song was probably great. The first time they recorded it was probably perfect. But I always like to share with the audience, I mean, the trials and tribulations of not just music, but life and the setbacks and overcoming it. So I'd like for both of you to give me an example of something in music where, you know, you might have been disappointed. You might have thought things were going to work out different than the way they were, something like that, and how you moved past it and got around it.
I just think the main one is just gigs. You know, you start off gigging, and, you know, I remember I'd done this gig with my band in Hitchin, where local, and there was 200 people, and we were on a stage and they were clapping along, and we were like, oh, this is amazing. And then 2 weeks later we were like, right, we're going to London and we're going to do a gig, and like, oh, we're going to make it even better than the one we just did, and there was 4 people, and you just think, what are we doing this? And I think that's just, you know, the thing to portray to people, and all these artists that, you know, are now at that level, is everyone just sees the top level and they don't see what was before that. And I think there's a saying that I got from Usain Bolt's film. It's like, there's a difference between what you see and what you don't see. You know, with Usain Bolt, for example, what you see is him running 9 meters, 9 seconds, 100 meters in 9 whatever seconds, and, you know, getting his gold medal. You know, that's all they see, the 9-10 seconds of him running and winning. What they don't see is all the hours and everything else that he put into that. And I just think from, you know, just doing gigs and stuff, I don't know about the other side if Shannon wants to touch on the other parts, but it's just, you just got to keep going, because even out of those 4 people, you never know who's going to be there. So you just got to do your best, I think, as well.
True. How about you, Shannon?
Yeah, so I agree with the gig stuff, because I mean, there's nothing more disappointing than putting your all into a performance and it just falling on deaf ears, you know, because, oh, I can't make it because, I don't know, my granny's sick, blah blah blah, all those excuses. And it's just like, there's a show and it's got to go on, and you've still got to do what you would have done even if there was 100 people there. But at the same time, like, you can use those shows that nobody's there to just practice your live performance. So, it shouldn't hinder you at all, even though you may feel that it kind of is breaking you a little bit inside. You just got to keep going. But I'd say another point that I'd find quite disappointing is that, well, I think social media at the moment, I think musicians are very heavily reliant on it, because we can't do shows, can't do live shows. It's all kind of live streams and just hoping people will tune into that, hoping people will see your post about your single, hoping people will share your stuff. And when it doesn't go that way, you kind of just feel like people don't care. And then that, if you take it too personally, which some people may do, it can really start affecting your mental health as well. Like, especially if you put all of your time and effort and a lot of money into advertising things and just trying to push your content out there and your stuff, when it feels like it's just falling on deaf ears and you feel like you don't get anything back from that, it's kind of an obstacle that's put in your way to keep going. But again, I think it's just about having that mindset of just keeping it up, keep it going, and just moving forward really, and not really caring what people think, but at the same time, you know, you still want to build your fan base and attract new listeners. So again, there's a balance there of trying to, you know, look attractive as a brand, as you brand yourself as a band or musician, but at the same time not taking it too personally and being too hard on yourself if it doesn't get successful straight away, or if your post doesn't do that well, you just make a post better the next time, or you just experiment as you go along.
And I think it's those little things as well that's the hardest thing, you know, going and doing a gig in front of 200 people, like for Shannon as well, that's probably not the easiest thing, but it's easier, you know, than probably, right, how am I going to build an extra few thousand followers on Instagram, you know, how am I going to go into the detail of doing this image, what am I going to wear, that work rate. And I think people forget that is sort of a little bit harder than actually, you know, like they're doing the gigs and the writing, because that's the fundamental of it, you know, right? Form, that's what you want to do. Be able to do that on a big scale, got to do all those little things, and those little things are probably the hard thing. And I know I find it when I go to bed at night, I'd come up with an idea and I'm thinking, oh, how can and you can stress yourself out. You can constantly just keep going around in circles trying to, you know, get to that point. Yeah.
No, most definitely. Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just being in love with your art and with what you're doing, and everything else will follow. You know, it's some things are out of our control, and timing is out of our control too. But as long as you just love it, man, you just love it. You know what I mean? Your songs, you just love it. You know, and I feel it. You know, when I see artists perform, and I can tell they love the hell out of their music. I might not even be into that style, but it's just like, you know what? She's jamming, man. Like I don't even know what she's saying, but damn, like I could tell she really feels it, and you know, it carries a lot. It definitely does.
That's a massive thing. If you don't believe in your own music and what you're creating, what you're putting out, no one's going to. You know what I mean? You're the big promoter and the big muse for your music. So, like you said, you need to listen to your own music, Shannon, until you're sick of it.
Exactly. You need to get to my stage of where you're sick of it, and then you know you are there.
That's when you know.
Hey, so you know, parlaying off of that topic there, you know, social media and you know, and it's addictive. I mean, it's, you know, cell phones are addictive. You know, in this modern day world, I mean, sometimes I think about, you know, if we could time travel to say the 60s or the 70s, I'm not going to say it was easier, but at the same time too, we didn't have the distractions that we have today. You know, you could just kind of just do your own thing because you just weren't connected to the whole universe through your gadget. So for both of you, when you want to write that song and you want to get into your mode, how do you do it? How do you block the outside world and tune out and tune in?
How do you get that
I think touching on the social media part of it, I think it's become harder to get recognised because of lockdown as well. You know, with the social media, you know, there's so many people putting stuff on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook now, and doing live streams, and you know, this platform has all of a sudden just become massive from people because no one's else got anything to do. So it's become harder in that aspect. But yeah, I think just sort of, again, it's sort of helped, you know, be isolated because you have to isolate from the world at the minute, you know, in your bubble. And I know there's times where, you know, on a Saturday, I'd probably have been going out at 9 o'clock or doing a gig or meeting people, when now you're stuck with all these feelings and, right, what can I do? And, you know, you channel it out in a song. But I think that'll be a hard transition. And I don't know about Shannon as well, because I do a lot of my writing now because of what we've gone through it in the evening. You know, there's not a lot to do. You'd be going out, you'd be meeting people, this and that. And now it's just sort of, you know, you need to find another way to do it. But I think as well, you know, when we're back to normal life as well, there'll be a little bit more to write about and new experiences and different things that you go through. But I think you just got to be relaxed with it, and you know, just designate a time where, right, I'm going to relax now. I'm going to let it come naturally, and that's when I think the best sort of material comes as well. Because if you're stressed and you really want to push and write a song, it's not gonna come out as well as it would be if you're, you know, relaxed or vulnerable and, you know, in your emotions sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely need to feel relaxed in order to have the best writing come out. But at the same time, if I kind of sit down and dedicate time to writing, I don't get the best writing from that. I sometimes think I get the best writing from just when it randomly hits me, like whether that's an emotion or an experience I've gone through. I might have not have planned to write that day, but because I felt something that day, I had all these lyrics pop into my head that I had to write down, and I'm like, right, this is it. This is my calling for a song, and it's randomly hit me, but it's got to happen now or it will go away. So I think for me, it does happen randomly. I mean, there are times where I dedicate to try and write songs, but they may not be as good as when it when it comes in at a random time. But yeah, I think. But despite all of that, like all of the times I do feel relaxed and in the zone, even though it might have been about a different emotion. Like once I've overcome that and I really think about it and why I felt like that, I feel like I'm in a really concentrated state, and I can fully be myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the main thing as well is, you know, not the like technique I use is I try not to leave a song unfinished. You know, even if I think it's a really bad song, I think it's just important to, you know, get it done, get it out, and then even if you never listen to it again, at least you've let what you were feeling at that moment out, because then that's when the good song will then come in. Otherwise, you'll find they'll channel into different songs. And, you know, you might have just wasted, you know, time or whatever. I think that's an important little tip that I've learned as well when writing. And like you said, it's different. You know, I can sit down and sometimes the song will come out, and sometimes I sit down and it won't, and sometimes it will come randomly, or sometimes I have to, you know, force it. And I think it's different for artists as well.
Yeah, I think Stevie Wonder once said that. I think I heard him say that. Somebody was asking him for advice, and he said, never leave a song undone. Always complete it, even if you don't end up liking it or if you don't want to use it. But he's just like, it kind of builds a flow of ideas, you know, of completion. So that's great. That's great. So I wanted to talk to you both about your songs. Like I said, I've checked out both of your music, and I'm really liking it. Shannon, I also checked out a couple of your tunes, and I did really like Now I'm Standing Tall. And I thought that was interesting. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, so if that's the song you're referencing that you listened to earlier, it's called But He's There.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a lyric in the song, isn't it? I think.
I think so.
Are you referencing the song? Hang on.
It is.
The song I sent to you on SoundCloud.
Now I'm standing tall.
Yeah, but I was actually talking about a different song. It's now I'm standing tall. I think it's on your Facebook or.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, it's not called that. But I'm thinking it's one of my songs.
Now you see me. Is it Now You See Me? Sorry.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's on Facebook.
Now you see me. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was quoting a lyric that's in the song. My bad. It was a lyric in the song, but I got the title.
I thought so, because I thought I recognised it. I was like, that is one of my lyrics, but I can't remember what song it's from.
Us creatives, our brains are like, whoo!
I think that's Geoff's way of telling you to change the name.
Change the title, because that's the lyric. No, but tell me about the inspiration behind the song and how you put that together for Now You See Me.
Oh, wow. So I wrote that last year, I think. So it's kind of a bit of a recent bit of writing. It's not released officially or anything, but I basically wrote that as a response after having an argument. After sort of feeling that I couldn't express myself fully with a certain person, I felt like they'd always kind of put me down and not really see me for who I am, and I'd never really feel like I could reveal my full self and my full views to that person because it might have upset them. But I felt like in my life I reached a point where I didn't care anymore what the other person felt, and yeah, basically felt like I could fully express myself finally and reveal it to that person, if that makes sense. So it's like now you see me and I'm standing tall and I'm finally confident to say how I feel, and I don't want to be like suppressed anymore, that sort of thing. It's kind of a bit deep, but yeah, that's how I was feeling at the time. So that's how the song was born.
It struck me. It really stood out to me, and I really liked your artistry on that, and it stuck out to me. It's just like that line. Now I'm standing tall. I thought that was great, and for you, Max, like I don't know if you caught it, but earlier I did a song review on your song Together, but I'm also a fan of Find a Love.
So the two songs Together and Find a Love are part of a 5-track EP, which was basically, about a breakup, and, the link between the reason it's called Together is it's sort of got a double meaning. It's about, the song itself called Together is about, after the certain, disconnection from a person, you go out and then you see the person again for the first time after everything that's gone on, and it's sort of about, nothing really matters because you're sort of together and you're in the same place, and you can see each other, and if they want to talk and stuff like that. And that's sort of, when making the EP, it becomes a bit of a different meaning because it's about being together at the time and how you're not together at the minute, and it all fits nicely with lockdown as well. And I think with Find a Love, it was sort of, the send-off track to the EP because, again, it's sort of about, forgiving and, no matter what, I want you to be happy, and, that sort of feel of letting go as well. And what I found, obviously, with this EP, because of what I went through, during lockdown and the breakup and etc., it was sort of therapeutic in a way as well. And it was really fun, if anything, to do. And, there was different songs. There was songs at the beginning like Bottle Lids, which I wrote 2 years ago, and then Find a Love was obviously 2 months before the EP came out. So it was great fun to do. But yeah, Find a Love, especially, I wanted it to be raw, and I really wanted the vulnerability to come out. And I think it's important because people then relate to it more, and I hope people that have listened to it make it their own, and relate it to whatever they're sort of going through. And I think love is such a universal thing as well, which was obviously the theme of the EP too. But yeah, I think Find a Love is definitely one of my favourite songs of the EP that we did.
Yeah, it stood out to me. It definitely has that universal appeal, and now that you've broken it down for me, it's just kind of like about a full circle, and being together and being apart, being back together,
Yeah, and I think the great thing as well is what I sort of wanted to convey was just the rawness of it. Sometimes the breakup is very delicate, and with most of the songs like Pray, it's just me and a piano. Find the Love, just me and a guitar, and yeah, it's quite easy to play live as well because that's how I play it live. And yeah, it just shows that vulnerability, I think, and rawness and delicate of the situation that, I'm assuming a lot of people would have gone through as well during, COVID. It's changed, especially people's relationships and things like that. And at the end of the day, I write music as a therapeutic thing as well. But yeah, I'm thankful that you like that song, and I hope people are listening to it. And I think it was just a good way to start on what I want to carry on and do next.
For sure. For sure. You both are very talented. You both are unique. You both have unique voices. It's I can't remember the phrase, but I just remember I read this book last year. This producer, Ted Templeman, who he crafted all kinds of big hits in the '70s, and Van Halen and all kinds of big name artists. But one thing he says is what a sign of an artist that's going to do well is having a voice that's recognizable. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you hear it and it's them, and you're like, okay, I know that, and you both have that, and I really like it because it sets you apart and it's identifiable. And
I think it's it like Shannon, you can get lost because sometimes you listen, like me and Shannon would listen to artists and we think, oh yeah, that's this person and that person, because like you said, they're recognizable. Where I don't know if Shannon feels it, sometimes I sing and I feel like, do people know it's me? Do people recognize it? And I think that's a hard thing to get your head around in. Well, but again, it's just being unique and hoping it relates to other people. And me and Shannon have also, Geoff, planning on doing a song, which we're going to have to send you. Actually, we're going to have to send you the demo. But me, working on some stuff as well.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'd love to hear you guys do a song together. I think that would be, two great voices, two great writers for sure.
Well, do you want me to tell you a little bit more about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I obviously me and Shannon work with the same company on sort of media side of things, and I spoke to Josh, and who helps and I was like, look, I'm looking at collaborating with other artists. I want to gain. I think it's just a great thing to have a different following. Let some fans see you. Just reach out to different people and different fans as well. And I came across Shannon's voice, and I had this song that I always wanted a female singer to sing, and I heard Shannon sing, and I thought, she'd be perfect for this song. And I sent her the song, and Shannon thankfully liked it, and then sent back the demo of her part, and it worked really well, and we've got the fundamentals down of this song, and now we're just waiting to get in the studio and record it and go from there. But it is a sort of, like you said, part of a breakup relationshipy type of song that I think could sound really cool, and me and Shannon definitely want to play it live when we.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm so excited to record it because we've just done it. What's the word? Remotely. So it'll be cool to just get it all together and release it. So that'll be fun.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So this is great. So tell me both where we can find you guys online.
Do you want to go first?
I'm letting you plug yourself first. You can plug your...
Oh, okay. Sorry. My internet's so bad. Oh my god. So people can find me online. If you type in @official Shannon UK on Instagram and Facebook. If you type in official Shannon UK on YouTube as well. And you can find me on Spotify if you type in Shannon Worth It, because that's my debut single, and I am releasing another single on Friday. So be sure to follow me on Spotify and check out my new song on Friday. And I'll let Max plug himself now.
Yeah, so make sure to go follow Shannon. And my socials are Max Ryan Music on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Spotify is Max Ryan. You'll be able to tell it's me if you follow my Instagram, as you'll see my face. So make sure to do it. And I've got loads of new music out this year. Me and Shannon have got a song that we plan on releasing this year. So get give us a follow, send us a message, let us know who you are. And Geoff, thank you for doing this and having us on. We definitely need to get out to LA. We're definitely going to.
Yes.
Anytime, any place, you guys got to come out here. You'll love it. It's a crazy place, but it's a beautiful place, and it is what we call California. But yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you both so much for being on the show. Like I said, you both are so talented. I love the music. I'm looking forward to hearing more. And when you guys get that song done, sometime this year, I want to do part 2. I want to get a special live performance with you both. All right?
Definitely.
Ooh.
We'll be
Yeah.
in the same room as well, so we'll be allowed to.
Awesome.
Oh, Geoff, thank you. This has been great, and I hope you stay safe.
Thank you so much. This has been incredible.
You too, guys. And as always, make sure, keep up the hustle.